What's up, guys? Before I jump into it, just want to let you know that there's a flash 30% off discount with code ESPRESSO over at gfuel.com. With new releases like Sour Faceberry and cans like Sour Blue Chug Rug out, if you're interested, now's as good a time as any to check them out. Links in the description below, but anyways, let's get back to the content at hand. We talk about it every time there's an update, but while we have a ton of stuff listed in the game for patch notes and such, there's also without fail changes that go unmentioned in Modern Warfare and Warzone for whatever reason. Secret changes, if you will, that come out of the newer versions of the game. This week's mid-season update was no exception, in which we ended up seeing a handful of changes that Infinity Ward didn't tell you about. So today I want to go over those with you so that you're fully aware of everything that really changed, or maybe you're like me and just wondering, hang on, am I crazy or did that change? So as we go along, let me know your thoughts down below. Firstly, did we miss anything in this list that maybe you caught here as a secret change? And as well, are you liking these changes so far? Maybe not so much. Whatever it is, feel free to let me know your thoughts down below. As well, if you are new to the channel, do be sure to hit that subscribe button to stay up to date with all things Modern Warfare and Warzone on a daily basis. But with that said, let's jump into it. I think to start this one out, I want to jump over into some Warzone changes to get the ball rolling. There was a handful of changes total, but a majority of them, and the most notable for sure, came in the form of Warzone changes. So let's begin there. Firstly, one of the first things you'll notice right out of the gate when you go into that Warzone tab, if you have the premium game or if you're just a part of the free-to-play user base, there's a new interface for Warzone's menus. Aside from there being BR200 currently on the main shelf, this update introduced a sort of condensed variation of the interface that we had before. In theory now, we shouldn't see multiple LTMs now making the menu tiles go below that lower border like we've seen in recent updates, but instead, this now condenses all the Battle Royale modes into a subcategory and is just listed as Battle Royale. Whether or not Plunder introduces multiple modes at a time to do the same thing in the future, that's still up in the air, but you have Battle Royale, then when you click on that, it brings up the sub-menu of solos, duos, trios, and in the future, quads as well. But with BR200 again being on that main shelf, it's missing the full suite of game modes, if you will. But as odd as it is to first see another square of UI pop up, I think this is a nice change. It keeps everything a little bit more organized, and again, it will be nice to not have menu tiles rolling off the bottom of the screen when there's a big week or weekend in Warzone. Continuing on with user interface changes and some quality of life stuff, another addition that was made under the radar is that of the Don't Fill selection being its own separate shelf in that menu. No longer do you have the option to toggle fill or don't fill on whatever game mode you're playing around, in which you have to mess around with that each time. Instead, now it's its own thing that will allow you to select an overall option for Warzone games at the very bottom and its own separate fill or don't fill. That's a nice little touch here, but wanted to add that in as we're talking with user interface items. Another awesome addition, I think, is the new Play Again button at the end screen in Warzone matches. It'll re-queue instantly, or rather, as close to instantly as you'll get. I definitely think this could use some ironing out, since it sits on that loading screen with the Warzone intel as if it were searching for a match, but it just holds you at that static loading screen. But in the grand scheme of things, it'll probably save you 30 to 60 seconds. While it doesn't automatically replace you in another lobby as a sort of early placement in a pre-game lobby, it just simply saves you from having to back out, re-queue, and then go from there. It combines those first two steps and saves you a little bit of the hassle so that you're kind of always in the action, though it's again still a little disconnected. Overall though, I just love the feeling of being able to get right back into it, and also it's nice because a lot of my squad will always say, alright, I'll play one more and that's it. But if you queue them up before they leave the party, they gotta play another one, right? That's the rules of gaming. Next, we saw the introduction of the counter UAV in Warzone, which admittedly, I'm still pretty in the dark on this one on how it works. No parallel to the effect of what the counter UAV actually does with that, but I've yet to really encounter this in game. Apparently it's a chest spawn loot item, and I've also heard that it's a 4 UAV activation at once, like an advanced UAV, but one more additional on that. But I'll be totally honest with you, I haven't been able to confirm nor deny that part, and I surely haven't seen it as ground or chest spawn loot, so assuming its rarity is not on par with or rarer than that of the grenade launcher, I haven't seen it anywhere out of probably 6 to 8 to maybe even more hours of game time since the update. But anyways, this was a new addition that wasn't mentioned anywhere, but it scrambles your entire HUD for the duration of the streak, which seemingly is the same duration of the UAV. Now, if I were to guess as to why this was a kind of under the radar addition, is because in the game files, there was actually a scrambling effect of a counter UAV in relation to the overarching Easter egg. The story being told over the last few months and unfolding in front of us in real time. So just like the spotter perk and spotter scope becoming important with the intel missions, I'd imagine this is kind of the same thing here. It seems like it's moving that way. But anyways, you get that counter UAV effect. But before we move on, one thing that I have to mention if we bring up the counter UAV or a UAV at all is we have a new counter UAV that scrambles everything. We got that before the advanced UAV lets you see ghost users. $12,000 of in-game cash, and we still can't even see a blip on the radar when somebody's sitting in a corner with Ghost. You can see the directional and real-time display of other players, but Ghost still for whatever reason gets protected. It'd make that advance so much more worthwhile if you could see those players. But anyways, after that, we ended up seeing that there is now an armor and health icon added onto the kill cams in Warzone, and something that shows just how close you were, or maybe not how close you were, to taking out that enemy. Beforehand, it wouldn't show you anything. You could see that the player would end up getting hit if you shot back at them, but it didn't really give you any indication as to how weak they are. But in terms of communication with your squad, this is actually a great feature, I think, because if you break their armor, if you get them down to one shot, you know exactly what to call out, assuming you're paying attention and you have your squad somewhat nearby to trade or clean up kills with you. So that's definitely something that I think is a very nice addition and just gives a little bit more information to the overall game, and is a nice little quality of life change. Additionally, when we take a look at some user interface and quality of life things, this one may not be something that you pay attention to all that much, but there's now an input selection underneath the mode that you queue for while you're searching for matches. So for me in particular, this is something that I absolutely love, because me personally, I've made the switch to PC recently, but while I play mouse and keyboard on a bunch of other games, I still, for whatever reason, still feel the most comfortable with COD on controller. So while I'm in that sort of pivoting and transitioning phase of jumping from PS4 to full-on PC, using the peripheries made for that, I have controller plugged into PC, but oftentimes PC settings will revert back. If you end up touching your mouse, sometimes it will default your input back to keyboard and mouse. So this, whenever you're queuing, will let you know, hey, this is what you're going to be entering this match as, and it's a nice little heads up to know if you need to back out or if you're good to go. So personally, I'm all for that. After that, in-game, you see a couple of things regarding the interface and the visuals in-game, coming down to the kill feed. Firstly, there's now a kill feed color change in which each player on your squad now has different colors depending on whatever color they show up as in-game. So on that left side where you see your squad, there of course are those names in different colors. That corresponding color will then show up for that player in whatever they do in the kill feed. Whether or not they get a kill, they down a player, they get downed or get killed, that will show up in that color for the rest of that game. And then again, same goes for anybody else on that team with their corresponding color. I think that's a nice little touch that gives a little bit more differentiation to the feed and the achievements overall. A small change, but one that I'm cool with no less. Then we end up seeing there's also a new downed icon in the kill feed. Previously, it was almost that sort of medic plus icon that you see synonymous with medical attention, but now that's actually changed to a character actually downed in that sort of on their back crawling away state. So again, another smaller change that I'm pretty sure we recently just saw that new downed icon introduced. So another quick change at that, but one that's welcome as well. Then one big one that was half mentioned within the patch notes is that of the new team wipe system in the kill feed. Now, it does mention that it is in the kill feed that it will say team wipe, which is a great addition, but one thing that I think takes this above and beyond that I absolutely love is the unmentioned fact that there's now an audio cue that will let you know when you wipe that team. It's a sort of deeper sweeping ping sound that will just let you know and confirm that you ended up getting everybody in that squad. So that's very helpful to know if you're searching for one person and you don't know if there's more. If there is more and you take out one, you know there's two teams then if you get that audio cue. So overall, I love this change in particular, but that's going to round out the Warzone specific side of things. Next, let's jump over to some MP and some overall changes that were made. What we end up seeing firstly is that of the unintended MP5 buff. Now, according to all of the patch notes, we ended up seeing there was actually in written form what seemed like a severe nerf to the MP5, but realistically, and discovered by my good friend Ace during his testing, it actually buffed the 10mm rounds because the long range damage to the torso and the limbs were both increased by 1 damage point. So it is a minimal buff, but it is something that if you don't hit all torso shots and you end up hitting, say, a limb in on that at long range, it can, in theory, help you out get a kill a little bit faster. So a little unintended buff perhaps with this, but then we end up seeing the perk of quick fix actually was changed within specialist. If you have specialist active beforehand, it wouldn't give you the effects of quick fix on the kill that you earned it, because that's the kill that you earned the perk at. In theory, if it's your specialist perk you earn in your second kill, you wouldn't see the effects of that until the third kill because you earned it on the second. But now it's been adjusted so that you end up getting those perks on that acquisition kill also, which is a nice one. Two more trivial changes come down to to one, actually Gaz is an operator. Previously in the menus, his name was Kyle. Now it's been changed to Gaz, which is, I think, pretty fitting. I don't know if it's just me, but since finishing the campaign back on launch, I haven't referred to Gaz as Kyle Garrick since it was confirmed by Price in the end cutscene that that's who Gaz was for Modern Warfare in 2019. So his name now reflects Gaz in the menus. Then the helicopter Aegean Tide camo actually was changed. Before it was a navy blue with red trim, but now it's a black with a yellow trim. Personally, for me, I have no idea why this change would be made. I don't know what the point of the adjustment was, but it was a change made no less. Finally, the last thing that we'll talk about that was added in under the radar was that of a ton of new bundles coming throughout the rest of Season 4. And this is something that isn't really anything that is a big deal. This happens every single title update where they stock up on items that are in the shop, but there are some cool ones, some stuff specifically for some national holidays right around the start of July here, with Canada Day being yesterday. There was the bundle for that in the shop with the update. There is presumably one or two going live this weekend for the 4th of July here in the States, and a whole bunch of other actually really cool ones, I think, here that were added in under the radar. Some of which you can actually see in the Warzone pregame lobby. The one that I was really excited to see what this would look like because it looked really cool from the preview on the COD Tracker website. But the new anime bundle with Mara and then the M13. The M13 I think looks really cool. You can see it on screen from some of the footage that I got earlier in the Warzone pregame menu, but the only thing that sucks is that it's not the barrel that I'd like, so I lose out on half the camo and customization, seems like. That's also going to be the same way if you end up purchasing the new Spectrum M4 camo that is going to be coming at some point, because it's got that commando or tac light barrel. I can't remember off the top of my head, but personally I just never used that. I think that the M16 Grenadier or the Corvus Custom is just the way you go. I don't see any other barrel being put on that in a competitive build for the M4. But anyways, that's the changes here that were made within Modern Warfare and Warzone as of update 1.23 that went under the radar, that were not mentioned to you in any official capacity. So that's where we're gonna wrap it up. I'd love to get your thoughts and feedback down there in the comment section down below. What do you guys think of these changes? Like them, dislike them, whatever it is, feel free to let me know. But hopefully enjoy the video. If you did, make sure to drop a like down below, and of course if you're new to the channel, make sure you guys subscribe so you don't miss a single thing regarding all things Modern Warfare, updates, news, information, tips, tricks, all that good stuff we got you covered here on the channel. So if any of that interests you, hit that subscribe button so you don't miss a single thing. If you guys also want to follow me over on Twitter and Instagram, those are the best places to get connected outside of YouTube. Practically live on both those. So if you guys want to strike up a conversation, ask me a question, whatever it may be, that link is down there in the description below. That's it. Thanks so much for watching. My name is Espresso. I'll see you guys later. Take care and peace.